Hi everybody, this is Dave here, and I'm going to talk about my bench work I did for my simple 2-foot by 4-foot N-scale layout. And I've actually been sick with a sinus infection, and I was hoping to get some track laid and things this week, but it's just not going to happen. Maybe this weekend I'll be able to get the track down, but I really don't want to be spending a lot of time down in my dank basement recovering from a sinus infection here. So what I'm going to show you here, you see this postcard, this first image here, is a picture of South Station in Boston, Massachusetts. And since I showed you North Station in another video, I'm going to show you a little history of North Station after I talk about my bench work. But you see here, I'm going to build my bench work out of pine boards and pink foam insulation. 3/4 inch thick foam insulation will be the main top there. So what I actually did is, first thing I did before anything else, just to make some space, is this foam insulation for me comes in 2-foot by 4-foot sheets. So I just cut it here. You can see me laying it out with a ruler and a square. Made a black line, and I just cut it with a handsaw. Made a little bit of a ragged cut because the foam's really soft. I just don't have a hot wire foam cutter like some people might, and I just didn't feel like investing in a single-use tool. And actually, when I shape my foam in another video, you see I'm going to use a rasp. It's messy, but I have a shop vac, so don't worry about that. And I also made this myself out of rough sawn lumber. I actually have to do another project for not railroad related. I got to do a furniture commission for a friend of mine, so I had to mill a lot of lumber anyways. So I just milled up lumber, piled it all up, spent an evening doing that, went back the next day, milled the other side, let everything rest, did all that, and when I was done doing all that hard work, you can see I treated myself to a beer and an apple. Okay, weird combination, I know, but I never said I was normal. I'm a grown man who likes to play with trains, right? Now, you can see here the completed bench work, and you just notice the things about it. It's basic 1x pine construction. Its legs are tapered. Saves you on some wood doing that. Makes the table a little more stable, I think. And the corners are held together with carriage bolts. Now, I don't have a real set pattern I use for this carriage bolts. I just drilled some holes by hand. The downside of doing that is each leg only fits in the corner that I drilled it for. So I did take the time to actually go in and label those positions there, those leg positions there. So if and when I ever take the table apart, I'll be able to get it back together again pretty easily. And then I laid the pink foam insulation on top. Made sure everything looked good, but I actually did not attach the top yet because I may or may not have one under table switch machine that might interfere with one of the cross pieces. So I just didn't want to attach that yet. And when I do, I'm either going to use some liquid nails or just even hot glue, low temperature hot glue. Don't use any real solvent adhesive. It will melt that styrofoam. So you'll see that when I do my track layout in the next video here. Probably you'll see that very soon. And finally, before I do anything though, I actually painted this a light blue color. And the only reason it's light blue is that's the color paint I had. It's leftover paint from painting the kitchen like 6 years ago. But I would recommend that if you do bench work that you paint it. I've actually seen a lot of things on the internet, people doing bench work and different things like that and saying, well, it warped on me. I read that a couple different places. Or something happened and it warped and it cracked the scenery. That may or may not happen, but if you paint it, it gives the bench work a little more consistency. If you have a sudden shift in hot to cold or a sudden shift in humidity, we have that in New England. In New England, it's 100% humidity in the summer, and it's 0% in the winter. That's really hard on unfinished wood. So this will help kind of slow down that process a little bit and maybe keep it from warping too much. We'll see how we do in a couple years, but I think we'll be all set. And now let's take a look here at talk about South Station. Okay, South Station opened in 1899 in Boston, Massachusetts, and it was the largest train station in Boston, Massachusetts. Actually, it still is, because it still is the passenger rail station / bus station in Boston, Massachusetts. But in this beautiful picture here, You see these wonderful wings coming off on either side here on this triangular-shaped or corner-shaped building. Most of that is actually gone now. If you look here at a modern picture I grabbed off of Wikipedia Commons, you can see a lot of that's gone. There's a 1970s office building on one side, and you can't really see the other side, but the other side's open, and there's actually part of the bus station is there. It's still a really neat structure. It still has a lot of historical integrity, and rather than tearing it down like they wanted to in the 50s and 60s and into the 70s, it's been renovated several times for modern transportation. The subway stops there, Amtrak stops there, commuter rail stops there, and the buses stop there, and it has a really cool history. And I'll actually put a link in my description here to a man who wrote a blog post really describing South Station. But I just want to share some pictures from its heyday with you guys. And this is South Station here in its heyday, and you see this large covering over the top. And that was the world's largest train shed. And that was there until 1930. And what happened is it was all, wrought iron, Victorian style wrought iron construction. This picture is sort of reminiscent of maybe Penn Station to me. But acrid locomotive smoke. It wasn't an electrified line like it was, say, in New York City. It corroded this very heavily, all that coal, tar, smoke. So in the 1930s, they decided that they needed to replace this train shed with train platforms. And here's a real interesting picture of the dismantling of the train shed. And you can see the platforms already in place underneath that. They didn't want to miss a beat. So in 1930, they removed the train shed and left those platforms there that were probably there until the 1970s renovation of the train station. And two little neat things here. The approach to the train shed in sometime before 1930. Kind of a neat little picture there. And another picture here is the original track plan for South Station in Boston. Obviously, they don't have that many tracks coming into the station today, but it's still a neat little picture. And I really think if you guys are train fans and like historical train, passenger train information, anyways, just read the blog post the blog post in the description. I found it really interesting. I read about the ghost terminal. There was a terminal built on a second level that was never used because Hartford New Haven decided not to electrify tracks, and all these other neat little historical quirks about this building. So it's a fun little read if you're a train fan or historical train station fan. I know I am. So I'll leave that in the log the link to the blog in the description for you guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little tour of my bench work, and we'll get laying track and building scenery and get some more interesting videos in the near future. Thanks everybody, and have a great day.